Hello, and welcome back to English in Advance, where we take your English skills from the classroom into the real world. I am your host, Jessica, and I am absolutely thrilled to have you here with me today for what is going to be a monumental session. We are not just going to scratch the surface today. We are going to dive deep, really deep, into one of the most important and exciting topics in any language, which is talking about the future. Today, we are going to master the art of English conversation regarding future plans, goals, and dreams. This is a massive topic because, think about it, so much of our lives is spent thinking about what comes next. We spend hours dreaming about our next vacation, planning our careers, worrying about schedules, or hoping for better days. To communicate these thoughts effectively, you need more than just basic grammar. You need nuance, you need emotion, and you need the specific vocabulary that makes you sound like a confident, capable speaker. Whether you are a B1 learner just trying to get comfortable or a B2 learner aiming for fluency, this session is designed to be a comprehensive guide. We will be spending a lot of time together today, so get comfortable, maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let's settle in for a true learning experience. We are going to cover everything, from the grammar of prediction to the idioms of ambition, and we will do it all with plenty of practice examples and shadowing opportunities. If you are ready to unlock the future of your English speaking journey, let's begin. Let's start by setting the scene. Imagine you are sitting in a quiet cafe with a good friend. The coffee machine is humming in the background and the atmosphere is relaxed. Your friend leans forward and asks you the question that opens up a world of possibilities, which is simply, what are your plans for the future? It seems like such a simple question, but inside that question is a universe of answers. You might want to talk about your weekend plans, which are short-term and practical. You might want to talk about your career goals, which are long-term and professional. Or perhaps you want to open up about your deepest dreams, like writing a book or traveling the world. Each of these scenarios requires a slightly different tool from your English grammar toolbox. Many students feel stuck here because they overthink. They worry about whether to use will or going to or the present continuous. My goal today is to make these choices feel automatic for you so that you don't have to think about the rules, you just feel the meaning. We are going to start with the most fundamental distinction in future English, which is the difference between a plan and a decision made in the moment. This is often called the will versus going to battle, but I don't want you to think of it as a battle. Think of it as two different flavors. Let's look at going to first. We use going to when the plan is already in our head before we speak. It is premeditated. Imagine that yesterday you looked at your empty refrigerator and realized you needed food. You decided then that on Saturday you would go to the supermarket. So, when you are at that cafe with your friend and they ask about your Saturday, you access that pre-existing plan in your memory and you say, I am going to go to the supermarket. You use going to, because the intention was already there. It is solid. It is real. Now, let's contrast that with will. Will is the superhero of spontaneous decisions. It jumps in to save the day when you haven't planned anything. Imagine your friend at the cafe suddenly spills their coffee all over the table. You didn't plan for this. You didn't wake up thinking, I am going to help my friend clean up coffee today. But in that moment, you react. You stand up and say, don't worry, I will get some napkins. You use will because it is an instant offer, a promise made in the split second of the present moment. Let's try a practice exercise together to really lock this in. I want you to imagine a scenario, and I want you to speak the answer out loud or whisper it to yourself. Here's the scenario. You are walking down the street and you see a beautiful shirt in a shop window. You've never seen it before. You fall in love with it instantly. You walk into the shop and look at the price tag. It is affordable. You decide right then and there to buy it. Do you say, I am going to buy it, or I will buy it? Think about it. It is a spontaneous decision made right now. The answer is, I will buy it. Or even better, use the contraction and say, I'll buy it. Repeat that after me. I'll buy it. Excellent. Now, let's flip the scenario. Imagine you have been saving money for 3 months to buy a specific new laptop. You have done the research, you know the model, and today is the day you are driving to the store to get it. You are on the phone with your mom and she asks, where are you going? Do you say, I will buy a laptop, or I am going to buy a laptop? Since this is a plan you have had for months, you say, I am going to buy a laptop. Say that with me and feel the sense of intention. I am going to buy a laptop. Now that we have laid the foundation with will and going to, let's elevate your English to the next level by introducing the present continuous for future arrangements. This is the secret weapon of native speakers. We use the present continuous tense, which is the subject plus am is, or are, plus the verb with ing, to talk about the future when something is fixed and arranged, usually involving other people or a specific time. This is very common for appointments, meetings, and social dates. Instead of saying, I am going to see the dentist tomorrow, which is correct but a little long, native speakers will often just say, I am seeing the dentist tomorrow. It is short, punchy, and implies that the appointment is in the calendar. It is 100% happening. Let's practice this because it helps you sound very fluent and natural. Think about your schedule for next week. Do you have work? Do you have a class? Do you have a lunch date? Try to say, I am working on Monday. Repeat that. I am working on Monday. Now try saying, I am meeting my boss at 10. Repeat it. I am meeting my boss at 10. This structure is fantastic because it sounds very definite and professional. Moving deeper into the timeline of the future, we need to talk about dreams. Dreams are different from plans. Plans are logical and scheduled. Dreams are emotional and aspirational. When we talk about dreams, we often use verbs like hope, wish, and aspire. These words add a layer of emotion to your sentences. For example, saying, I am going to be a doctor is a statement of fact or strong intention. But saying, I hope to become a doctor expresses a desire, a wish for the future. It is softer and more personal. A very beautiful verb to use here is aspire. To aspire means to have a strong desire to achieve or become something. It is often followed by the preposition to. You can say, I aspire to lead my own company one day. This sounds very sophisticated. Let's try a shadowing exercise with this word. I want you to listen to my intonation and copy it exactly. Here is the sentence. I aspire to make a difference in the world. Listen to how I stress the word aspire and the word difference. I aspire to make a difference in the world. Now you try it. Good. Using vocabulary like this moves you from a basic English speaker to an advanced one because you are expressing precise shades of meaning. Let's expand our vocabulary even further by looking at idioms related to the future and success. Native speakers love idioms. They are the spice of the language. One of the most encouraging idioms you can use when talking about future possibilities is, "The world is your oyster." This means that you can achieve anything you want in life and that opportunities are everywhere. Imagine you are talking to a younger sibling or a friend who just graduated from university. They are unsure about what to do. You can look at them and say, "Don't worry, the world is your oyster." It is a message of pure potential. Another great idiom is to shoot for the stars. This means to set very high goals, even if they seem impossible. You might say, "I know it is a big dream, but I like to shoot for the stars." It shows that you are ambitious and not afraid of failure. Let's practice using these in a context. Imagine you are telling me about your goal to learn fluent English. You say to me, "Jessica, I know it is hard, but I am shooting for the stars." Say that out loud. I am shooting for the stars. It feels good to say, doesn't it? It feels empowering. Now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the uncertainty of the future. Because let's be honest, we don't always know what is going to happen. Sometimes we have plans, but they are not 100% fixed. In these moments, we need language that expresses probability and possibility without sounding confused. We use words like probably, possibly, and definitely. The placement of these words in a sentence is key to sounding natural. Let's look at probably. If you are 75% sure about a plan, you use probably. The trick is where to put it. In a positive sentence with will, it comes after will. I will probably go to the party. But in a negative sentence, it often comes before won't. I probably won't go to the party. This is a small detail that many learners miss. Let's try to drill this. I want you to say, "I will probably finish early." Now say the negative version, "I probably won't finish early." Do you hear the rhythm difference? I will probably. I probably won't. Getting this rhythm right makes your English flow like music. Another way to express uncertainty is with the phrase, "I am thinking of," followed by a verb with ing. This is very common for casual, undefined plans. For example, I am thinking of buying a new car. It means you haven't decided yet, but the idea is in your head. You can also use the idiom, "I am toying with the idea." This gives a visual image of you playing with an idea in your mind, turning it over and looking at it. I am toying with the idea of moving to Spain. It sounds very thoughtful. Let's practice this one. Think of a big change you might want to make in your life. Maybe cutting your hair, maybe changing jobs. Now say, "I am toying with the idea of changing my job." Repeat it. I am toying with the idea of changing my job. This phrase is excellent for B2 and C1 level conversations because it shows you can discuss hypothetical situations. Now, I want to take you into a specific scenario that everyone faces eventually, which is the job interview. The question, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" is almost a cliché. It is so common. But do you have a good answer ready? A bad answer is just a short list of titles, like, "I want to be a manager." A good answer tells a story of growth. You want to use the future perfect tense here to really impress. The future perfect is constructed with will have, plus the past participle. It describes an action that will be finished at a specific time in the future. So instead of saying, "I want to learn Spanish by 2030, you say, "By 2030, I will have learned Spanish." It implies completion and success. In an interview, you can say, "In 5 years, I hope I will have developed my leadership skills and taken on more responsibility." This grammar structure shows that you visualize the completed goal. Let's practice the future perfect structure because it is tricky. Repeat after me. By next year, I will have finished my studies. Notice the cluster of words, I will have finished. It often sounds like, I'll you've finished, in fast speech. Try to say it smoothly. I'll have finished. By next year, I will have finished my studies. Let's add some more texture to our conversation about goals by discussing the obstacles. Real life isn't a straight line. Sometimes we have setbacks. Being able to talk about changed plans is just as important as talking about the plans themselves. If you had a plan, but you had to stop it, you can say, I had to put it on hold. To put something on hold comes from telephone language, but we use it for life plans all the time. I had to put my travel plans on hold because of work. Another fantastic phrase is back to the drawing board. We use this when a plan completely fails and we have to start over from the beginning. Imagine you applied for 5 jobs and didn't get any of them. You might sigh and say, well, it is back to the drawing board. It shows resilience. It admits failure but implies you are going to try again. Let's say that together with a sigh of acceptance. Well, it is back to the drawing board. It is a very human expression, and using it will make you relatable. We have talked a lot about professional goals, but what about personal happiness? What about your bucket list? A bucket list is a list of experiences you want to have before you kick the bucket, which is a slang term for dying. Talking about bucket lists is a fun, lighthearted way to practice future structures. You can ask friends, what is on your bucket list? When answering, you often use the structure, I have always wanted to. This connects the past desire to the future plan. I have always wanted to see the northern lights. I have always wanted to learn how to surf. This implies a long-standing dream. Let's visualize your bucket list right now. Close your eyes for a second, if you are safe to do so. What is one thing you really want to see or do? Now, open your eyes and say it out loud using the structure, I have always wanted to. For example, I have always wanted to visit the Grand Canyon. This structure is powerful because it gives history to your future plans. Now, I want to focus on a very subtle but important part of English conversation, which is how we agree on plans with others. When you are making plans with a friend, you need to negotiate. You need to make suggestions. You can use phrases like, how about, or shall we? For example, how about we go to the cinema on Friday? Or shall we try that new Italian restaurant? If you want to agree enthusiastically, you don't just say yes, you say that sounds great or I am down for that. To be down for something is a casual slang way of saying you are willing and interested. Are you down for pizza tonight? Yeah, I am down. It is very common in spoken English, especially among younger generations and friends. Let's practice the enthusiastic agreement. I will ask you a question and I want you to reply with, that sounds fantastic. Here's the question. Shall we book a trip to the beach next weekend? Now you say it, that sounds fantastic. Good. Responding with emotion helps build a connection with your speaking partner. Let's take a moment to talk about the psychology of goal setting and how to describe it in English. You might have heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. When you describe your plans using these concepts, you sound very articulate. Instead of saying, I want to get better at English, which is vague, you can say, my goal is to learn 10 new vocabulary words every day for the next month. This is specific and measurable. In conversation, you can introduce this by saying, I am trying to be more systematic with my goals, or I am taking a structured approach to my learning. Using words like systematic, structured, and approach elevates your vocabulary. It makes you sound like someone who takes their future seriously. Let's practice a sentence that uses this high-level vocabulary. Repeat after me. I am taking a proactive approach to my career development. Proactive means acting in advance to deal with an expected difficulty rather than just waiting. It is the opposite of reactive. Employers love the word proactive. As we continue this deep dive, let's look at the future continuous tense. This is formed with will be plus the verb with ing. I will be working. I will be sleeping. We use this to describe an action that will be in progress at a specific moment in the future. It helps you paint a picture. Imagine it is 8 p.m. tomorrow night. You can say, tomorrow at 8 p.m. I will be having dinner with my family. You are visualizing the scene. It is also very polite. If you want to ask someone about their plans without sounding nosy, you can use the future continuous. Instead of asking, when will you leave, which can sound demanding, you can ask, when will you be leaving? It sounds softer, like you are just asking about the flow of events. Let's practice this polite inquiry. Imagine you are talking to a guest in your house. Ask them politely about their departure. When will you be leaving? Try to make your voice sound soft and kind. When will you be leaving? It is a lovely, gentle piece of grammar. Now, let's integrate a story to help us see all these tenses in action together. I am going to tell you a short story about a character named Tom. I want you to listen for the different ways he talks about the future. Tom is unhappy with his current job. He has decided that next year he is going to quit. That is his plan, so we use going to. But before he quits, he needs to save money. So he thinks, I will save $500 every month. That is his determination, his promise to himself. He hopes that by December he will have saved enough to travel. That is the future perfect, looking at the completed goal. He is aspiring to travel around South America. He is currently looking into flights, and he is toying with the idea of starting a travel blog. Notice how all these tenses weave together to create a full picture of Tom's life. He has a fixed intention, going to, a promise, will, a completed goal, will have saved, and a tentative idea, toying with. When you speak, I want you to mix these tenses just like that. Don't stick to just one. Let's move on to some pronunciation drills, because talking about the future involves a lot of contractions and weak forms. We already talked about I'll for I will, but what about the negative won't? This is a difficult sound for many learners. It rhymes with don't. It is not want, like I want a cookie. It is won't. Round your lips. Ooh, won't. I won't go. Let's practice distinguishing these two. I want to go. I won't go. I want. I won't. The sound for want is more open, like the O in hot. The sound for won't is a diphthong, a double sound like the O in go. Try saying this sentence. I want to help, but I won't be able to. This is a tongue twister for vowel sounds. I want to help, but I won't be able to. Mastering this distinction prevents major misunderstandings. Another common reduction is with going to. In casual speech, this often becomes gonna. I am gonna go. You will hear this in movies, songs, and podcasts constantly. Should you use it? In casual conversation, absolutely yes. It makes you sound relaxed. In a formal business presentation, maybe stick to going to be safe. But for our purposes, let's practice gonna, because it helps your listening comprehension. When a native speaker says, I am gonna get coffee, they say it very fast. I'm gonna. Try to say it as one word. I'm gonna. I'm gonna learn English. I'm gonna call you later. It makes the sentence flow much faster. Now, let's talk about the distant future, the far-off future. When we talk about things that might happen in 10 or 20 years, we often use phrases like, in the long run, or eventually. In the long run implies looking at the final result after a long period of time. You might say, learning grammar is boring now, but it will be worth it in the long run. Eventually means in the end, after a long time. I hope to eventually retire in a house by the sea. These words show perspective. They show you are thinking big picture. Let's practice the phrase in the long run. Repeat after me. It will be beneficial in the long run. This is a great phrase to use when you are justifying hard work or sacrifice. Why are you studying so late? Well, it will be beneficial in the long run. We can also talk about the future using conditional sentences. These are the if sentences. The first conditional is used for real possibilities in the future. If I have time, I will call you. The structure is if plus present tense followed by will. This is crucial for planning. If it rains, we will cancel the picnic. If I get the job, I will move to the city. This shows cause and effect. A common mistake is to say, if I will have time. Never use will in the if part of the sentence for the first conditional. It is always if I have time. Let's drill this rule because it is one of the most common errors I hear. Repeat this correct sentence. If I see him, I will tell him. Not if I will see him. Just if I see him. Say it again. If I see him, I will tell him. Perfect. Let's get back to some more colorful vocabulary. Have you ever heard the phrase, to bridge the gap? This means to connect two things or to reduce the difference between them. In terms of future plans, you might want to bridge the gap between your current skills and the skills you need for a promotion. You can say, I am taking this course to bridge the gap in my knowledge. Or consider the phrase, stepping stone. A stepping stone is a rock you use to cross a river, but metaphorically, it is a small goal that helps you reach a bigger goal. You might say, this job is just a stepping stone for me. I plan to move on to something bigger next year. Describing a job as a stepping stone tells people that you have ambition and you are looking forward. I want to take a moment to encourage you to think about your own English journey as a future plan. What is your roadmap? A roadmap is a strategic plan. Do you have a roadmap for fluency? It might include listening to this podcast, practicing speaking for 10 minutes a day, and reading one article a week. Having a clear roadmap makes the huge goal of fluency feel manageable. You can tell people, I have a clear roadmap for my English learning. It sounds very organized. Another word for this is strategy. What is your strategy? My strategy is to immerse myself in the language. Immersion means surrounding yourself with the language. You are doing it right now. Let's engage in a little role play simulation. I will play the role of a career counselor, and I will ask you some questions. I want you to pause for a second after I ask and answer out loud using the structures we have practiced. Ready? Here we go. Hello, it is nice to meet you. Tell me, what are you currently working on? You might answer, I am currently working on improving my skills. Next question. That is great. And where do you hope to be in 2 years' time? You could answer, I hope to be working as a manager. Last question. And do you have any plans for further education? You might answer, I am thinking of taking a master's degree. Doing this kind of mental rehearsal is excellent preparation for the real thing. We are moving through a lot of material today, and you are doing a fantastic job sticking with it. Endurance is a key part of language learning. Now let's touch on the concept of making promises. When we make a promise about the future, we almost always use will. I will always love you. I will never forget this. I will call you as soon as I arrive. Using going to for promises sounds weird. I am going to always love you sounds clunky and less sincere. Will has a strength to it. It is a modal verb of volition or willpower. So when you want to assure someone, use will. I will be there for you. Say that with sincerity. I will be there for you. Sometimes we have to talk about negative future plans or things we want to avoid. We can use the verb dread. To dread means to anticipate with great apprehension or fear. It is the opposite of look forward to. I am dreading the exam next week. I am dreading the long flight. It is a strong emotion, but very useful. If you want to be less dramatic, you can say, I am not looking forward to it. I am not looking forward to the meeting. It is a polite way of saying you don't want to do it. Let's practice the contrast. Repeat positive first. I am looking forward to the weekend. Now negative. I am dreading Monday morning. We all know that feeling, right? Let's broaden our scope to talk about global future. When we discuss the future of the planet or society, we often use the passive voice because the focus is on the action, not the person doing it. For example, renewable energy will be used more in the future, or electric cars will be driven by everyone. The structure is will be, plus past participle. This is very common in IELTS writing tasks or academic discussions. Instead of saying, people will solve the problem, you say the problem will be solved. It sounds more objective. Try to convert this sentence active to passive. People will discover a cure. Convert it. A cure will be discovered. This shift in grammar shifts your tone from casual to academic. We have covered so much ground already, but we are not done yet. There are still nuances of conditional, perfect, continuous, and more complex idiomatic expressions to explore. So let's keep going. Let's start by looking at the second conditional. This is often used for dreams that feel a bit distant or unlikely right now. The structure is if, plus the past simple, followed by would, plus the infinitive. This confuses people because we use the past tense to talk about the future. But it is not the past time, it is the past form used to show distance from reality. For example, if I won the lottery, I would travel the world. I am not winning the lottery right now, so it is hypothetical. This is perfect for discussing big, wild dreams. Ask yourself, what would you do if you had $1 million? You wouldn't say, if I have $1 million, I will travel. You would say, if I had $1 million, I would travel. It sounds more imaginative. Let's practice this imaginative structure. I want you to finish this sentence. If I could live anywhere in the world, I would live in where? Say it out loud. If I could live anywhere, I would live in New York, or I would live in Tokyo. Using could instead of had is also very common here. If I could be anything, I would be an astronaut. This grammar allows you to dream without limits. Now let's look at the third conditional, but with a twist. Usually the third conditional is about the past regrets. If I had studied, I would have passed. But we can use mixed conditionals to talk about how the past affects the future. For example, if I had saved money last year, I would be going to Italy next month. This connects a past action to a future plan. It is very complex and very impressive. It shows you understand cause and effect across time. If I hadn't taken this job, I wouldn't be moving to London next week. Try to think of a decision you made in the past that is changing your future right now. Maybe because you started listening to this podcast, you are going to speak better English. If I hadn't started listening to Jessica, I wouldn't be feeling so confident about my future. That is a mixed, conditional in action. Let's move into a storytelling segment. I promised you a story about Sarah's career change. Stories are the best way to learn because our brains are wired for narrative. Listen closely to the tenses I use. Sarah had been working in finance for 10 years, but she was burning out. She knew she needed a change. She spent months toying with the idea of becoming a baker. She thought, if I don't do it now, I never will. So she made a roadmap. First, she is going to take a night class in pastry making. She is starting that next Tuesday. She hopes that by next summer, she will have gained enough skills to quit her job. She knows it is a risk. She says to her friends, I am terrified, but I am also shooting for the stars. Her friends tell her, we are rooting for you, Sarah. Eventually, she plans to open her own shop called Sarah's Sweets. In the long run, she believes she will be happier, even if she has less money. Did you hear how natural that story sounded? It mixed the past, had been working with the present, toying with, and the future is going to take and will have gained. This is how real life sounds. It is a mixture of memories, current actions, and future hopes. I want you to try to tell your own story in this way. Start with where you were, then where you are, and finally where you are going. For example, I had been studying engineering, but I realized I loved art. Now I am painting every day. Next year, I am going to apply to art school. By 2027, I hope I will have graduated. This creates a timeline of your identity. Now, let's switch gears to business English. In the corporate world, talking about the future is often called forecasting or projecting. You don't just say, I guess we will sell more. You say, we project a growth of 10%. Or, we forecast a significant increase in revenue. These words, project and forecast, sound much more professional than think or guess. Another key phrase is moving forward. This is corporate speak for in the future. Moving forward, we need to be more efficient. It is a transition phrase that signals a change in policy or behavior. If your boss says, moving forward, we will have meetings at 9 a.m., it means from now on. Let's practice this phrase. Imagine you are in a meeting. You want to suggest a change. You say, moving forward, I suggest we use this new software. Say it with authority. Moving forward, I suggest we use this new software. In business, we also talk about deadlines. A deadline is the time by which something must be finished. We often use the preposition by with deadlines. I need this report by Friday. I will have it done by noon. If you think you might miss a deadline, you can say, I am running behind schedule. This is a polite warning. I am afraid I am running a bit behind schedule on the project. Conversely, if you are fast, you are ahead of schedule. I am happy to report we are ahead of schedule. Being ahead of schedule is a great feeling. Let's practice admitting a delay politely because that is harder. I am afraid I am running behind schedule. Try it. I am afraid I am running behind schedule. It is professional and honest. Let's talk about the emotional spectrum of the future again. We talked about dread and excitement, but what about anxiety? Many people have anxiety about the future. We call this future tripping in slang. It means worrying about things that haven't happened yet. You can say, stop future tripping and focus on the now. Or you can say, I am feeling a bit apprehensive. Apprehensive is a sophisticated word for anxious or fearful about something that might happen. I am apprehensive about the interview. It is less strong than dread, but more specific than worried. If you want to reassure someone who is apprehensive, you can say, cross that bridge when you come to it. This idiom means don't worry about a problem until it actually happens. I am worried about the cost. Well, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. It is great advice and a great idiom. Another beautiful idiom is, only time will tell. This means we cannot know the result now. We must wait. Will this plan work? Only time will tell. It adds a philosophical note to your conversation. It admits that we are not in control of everything. Similarly, we have the phrase, wait and see. We are taking a wait and see approach. This means we are not acting yet, we are observing. In uncertain times, a wait-and-see approach is often the smartest move. Let's practice saying that. We are taking a wait-and-see approach. It sounds very calm and measured. Now, let's do a deep dive into pronunciation of long words related to the future. The word inevitable. Inévitable. This means something that cannot be avoided. It is inevitable that technology will change. Stress the second syllable. Inévitable. Try it. Inevitable. What about the word opportunity? Opportunity. Stress the TU, opportunity. I am looking for a new opportunity. Many learners swallow the middle syllables. Make sure you give them space. Opportunity. And the word schedule. In American English, it is schedule, with a K sound. In British English, it is often schedule, with a sh sound. Both are correct. Pick the one that feels easier for you, but be consistent. I have a busy schedule. Let's integrate some conversational fillers. When you are thinking about your answer regarding the future, you need time to think. Instead of just saying or use fillers like, let me see, or that is a good question, or let me give that some thought. Well, let me see. I think I will go to France. This buys you thinking time and keeps the conversation flowing smoothly. Another good one is, to be honest. To be honest, I haven't decided yet. It makes you sound sincere. Let's practice the filler. I ask you, where are you going next year? You say, well, let me see. I am not sure. Try it. Well, let me see. I am not sure. It sounds very natural. Let's talk about the concept of a 5-year plan. This is a cultural concept in the West, particularly in the U.S. People are obsessed with 5-year plans. If you don't have one, you might feel left out. But you can answer by saying, I prefer to take one day at a time. To take one day at a time is an idiom that means focusing on the present and not worrying about the long term. It is a perfectly valid philosophy. I don't have a 5-year plan, I take one day at a time. It sounds very zen. Or you can say, I go with the flow. To go with the flow means to be relaxed and accept whatever happens. Are you a planner or do you go with the flow? Knowing how to describe your personality type helps you answer these future questions authentically. We also have to talk about technological futures, AI, robotics, space travel. This is a huge topic for discussion. We often use the phrase, on the horizon. This means coming soon. AI is on the horizon. Self-driving cars are on the horizon. Or just around the corner. A big change is just around the corner. This creates a sense of anticipation. You can also use the word revolution. This technology will revolutionize the industry. Notice the stress, revolucionize. It is a powerful verb. We expect that AI will revolutionize education. Using these big words makes you sound educated and informed. Let's do a specific drill on the difference between hope and expect. Hope is a wish. Expect is a belief based on probability. I hope it rains means I want rain. I expect it to rain means I look at the clouds and calculate that rain is coming. I hope to get the job. I expect to get the job. The second one is much more confident. If you say, I expect to succeed, you sound arrogant or very sure. If you say, I hope to succeed, you sound humble. Be careful which one you choose. In a job interview, expecting might be too strong, but hoping might be too weak. Maybe use, I am confident that I will succeed. That is the perfect balance. Let's look at the phrase, looking forward to, again, because it is the most common way to close an email or conversation. But remember the grammar. It is looking forward to, plus a noun or a verb with ing, not the infinitive. You cannot say, I look forward to see you. You must say, I look forward to seeing you. This is a top 5 mistake for learners. Please memorize this. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to meeting you. I look forward to the party. Let's drill it. I look forward to seeing you. Say it 3 times. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing you. It needs to be automatic. Now let's explore the future of relationships. We talk about settling down. To settle down means to get married, buy a house, and live a quiet life. Do you want to settle down one day? Or we talk about tying the knot, which is an idiom for getting married. They are planning to tie the knot next spring. We also talk about starting a family, which specifically means having children. I want to start a family soon. These are personal topics, so be careful asking them to strangers. But with friends, they are the heart of conversation. When will you settle down? It is a question your grandmother might ask. You can answer, I am not ready to settle down yet. I want to enjoy my freedom. Let's add some complexity with the phrase, bound to. If something is bound to happen, it is certain or very likely. He is so talented, he is bound to succeed. It is bound to rain eventually. This is stronger than probably. It feels like destiny or logic combined. You are bound to improve your English if you keep listening to this podcast. It is a certainty. Use bound to when you want to reassure someone. Don't worry, you are bound to find a solution. It is a very comforting phrase. We should also discuss the phrase, on the verge of. This means very close to happening. I was on the verge of quitting when they offered me a raise. Scientists are on the verge of a breakthrough. It creates suspense. If you are really tired, you can say, I am on the verge of collapse. It is dramatic, but effective. Are you on the verge of a big decision? Tell me about it using this phrase. I am on the verge of buying a house. It means you are standing on the edge, ready to jump. Let's talk about contingencies, Plan A and Plan B. It is always good to have a Plan B. This is your backup plan. If Plan A fails, we will go to Plan B. We also call this a safety net. Like a trapeze artist has a net to catch them if they fall. Savings are a financial safety net. Good English skills are a career safety net. You can say, I am saving money as a safety net for the future. It shows you are prudent and wise. Prudent is a great adjective, meaning acting with or showing care and thought for the future. Being prudent is a virtue. Now I want to do a longer listening comprehension segment. I am going to describe a future city. I want you to close your eyes and visualize it. In 50 years, cities will have transformed completely. We will be seeing vertical gardens on every skyscraper. Cars will have been replaced by silent electric pods. People will be working fewer hours and spending more time in community spaces. The air will be cleaner because fossil fuels will have been phased out. We might even be traveling to the moon for holidays. It sounds like science fiction, but much of this is already in the pipeline. Did you visualize it? Did you hear the passive voice will have been replaced? And the continuous will be seeing. This is how we build a vision. Let's talk about the word potential. Potential is the capacity to develop into something in the future. You have great potential. This is the best compliment a teacher can give. You have the potential to be fluent, but potential needs work to become reality. We talk about realizing your potential. I want to help you realize your potential. It means to make it real. Are you living up to your potential? That is a tough question. It asks if you are doing your best. I hope this podcast helps you live up to your potential. Let's loop back to the phrase, in the near future versus in the distant future. In the near future is vague but implies soon. We will address this in the near future. It is often used by politicians to avoid giving a date. If you want to be specific, say, in the next 2 weeks. If you want to be vague, use in the near future. It is a useful tool for evasion. We also have the expression, time flies. When we look at the future, we often realize how fast the present becomes the past. Time flies when you are having fun. Before you know it, the future will be here. The phrase, before you know it, means very soon, surprisingly soon. You will be fluent before you know it. Keep studying, and you will be at C1 level before you know it. It is a phrase of encouragement. It reminds us that time is subjective. Let's practice the pronunciation of the word comfortable because we use it to talk about future retirement or lifestyle. It is not comfortable. It is comfortable. 3 syllables. I want to have a comfortable life. I want to be comfortable speaking English. It is a very common word that learners stumble over. Comfortable. Try it. I want to be comfortable. Good. Now, I want to address the concept of procrastination. This is the enemy of the future. Procrastination is delaying things you should do. I am procrastinating on my homework. We say, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. To put off is a phrasal verb meaning to delay. I keep putting off the dentist. If you want to have a good future, you need to stop putting things off. You need to seize the day. Carpe diem. Seize the day is a classic idiom meaning take action now. Don't wait. Seize the opportunity to speak English whenever you can. Let's talk about the phrase, bright future. She has a bright future ahead of her. It means promising and successful. Conversely, we have bleak future, meaning hopeless. We hope for a bright future, not a bleak one. We also say the future looks promising. If a company is doing well, we say the outlook is promising. Outlook is your view of the future. What is your outlook on life? Is it positive or negative? Having a positive outlook is essential for language learning. You have to believe you will succeed. We are getting closer to the end of this second part, and the volume of vocabulary you have absorbed is immense. We have gone from simple plans to complex conditions, from business forecasting to personal dreams. You are building a massive lexicon of future-related terms. I want you to feel proud of this. You are not just listening, you are absorbing patterns. Let's try a rapid-fire question round. I ask, you answer instantly. What are you doing tonight? What are you going to do this weekend? Where will you be in 10 years? What is your biggest ambition? Answering quickly helps you bypass the translation part of your brain. You don't have time to translate, you just speak. This is how fluency is born. Speed drills are very effective. I want to leave you in this section with a thought about legacy. Legacy is what you leave behind for the future generations. What will your legacy be? It is a heavy, deep question. Maybe your legacy will be your children, or your art, or your kindness. Talking about legacy requires the future perfect. I hope I will have left the world a better place. I hope I will have taught my children to be kind. It is the ultimate future perspective. Thinking about your legacy can motivate you today. As we continue this massive deep dive, let's elevate your English to the highest level by looking at academic contexts and formal writing. This is essential for those of you taking exams or working in international business. We are also going to explore phrasal verbs that native speakers use to plan their lives. And we will end with a profound exercise called the letter to your future self. Let's begin this final session by looking at the academic future. When you are writing an essay for university or a report for work, you usually avoid casual phrases like, I reckon or I guess. Instead, you need language that sounds objective and evidence-based. One of the most important structures here is the passive voice with reporting verbs. For example, instead of saying, people think that the economy will grow, you say, it is predicted that the economy will grow, or it is estimated that the population will increase. These phrases remove the personal opinion and make the statement sound like a fact. Let's practice this. I want you to take the sentence, I think technology will change schools. Now change it to a formal passive structure. It is anticipated that technology will change schools. Doesn't that sound much more authoritative? Try another one. Scientists say the climate is warming. Change it. It is reported that the climate is warming. Mastering this shift in tone is the key to getting high scores in writing tasks. Another key academic word is implication. When we discuss the future, we are often discussing the consequences of actions. We call these implications. You might say, we need to consider the future implications of this decision. It means we need to think about what will happen as a result. Similarly, we talk about the trajectory. A trajectory is the path that an object or a trend follows. The current economic trajectory suggests a recession is coming. If you use the word trajectory in a meeting, you sound like you see the big picture. You sound strategic. Let's practice saying it because it is a mouthful. Trajectory. The trajectory of your English learning is pointing upwards. I can see it. Now let's shift our focus to global and environmental futures, because this is one of the most common topics in modern conversation. We often hear about sustainability. To be sustainable means to be able to continue at the same rate without using up all resources. We talk about a sustainable future. We also talk about the carbon footprint, which is the amount of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere as a result of the activities of a particular individual or organization. You might say, I am trying to reduce my carbon footprint for the sake of future generations. Notice the phrase, for the sake of. This means for the benefit of. I am studying hard for the sake of my career. It is a lovely phrase to explain your motivation. In this context, we also use the word inevitable again, which we learned earlier, but here we pair it with change. Change is inevitable, but we also use the word mitigate. To mitigate means to make something bad less severe. We need to mitigate the effects of climate change. We plan to mitigate the risks. This is a very high-level verb. If you can use mitigate correctly, you are definitely demonstrating advanced proficiency. Let's try a sentence. We must plan ahead to mitigate future problems. Repeat that. We must plan ahead to mitigate future problems. It sounds very responsible and mature. Speaking of planning ahead, let's dive into the world of phrasal verbs for planning. Native speakers love phrasal verbs. One of the most common is to look ahead. This simply means to think about the future. Looking ahead, we expect next year to be profitable. Another one is to draw up. To draw up means to prepare a plan or a document. I need to draw up a contract. I need to draw up a schedule. It implies writing it down and making it official. If you are just starting a task, you can say knuckle down. To knuckle down means to start working very hard. I have been lazy, but now I am going to knuckle down. It gives the image of someone pressing their knuckles onto the desk to focus. Are you ready to knuckle down and finish this course? I hope so. We also have the phrasal verb run by. If you have a plan but you are not sure about it, you might want to run it by someone. This means to tell them the plan to see what they think. I have an idea for a holiday. Can I run it by you? It is a polite way to ask for feedback, and if a plan gets canceled, we say it fell through. We were going to buy the house, but the deal fell through. It gives the image of something falling through a hole in the floor and disappearing. It is a sad phrase, but very common. Have you ever had a plan fall through? It is frustrating, but as we said earlier, you just have to go back to the drawing board. Let's integrate these phrasal verbs into a mini story. Listen closely. I needed to draw up a plan for my renovation. I ran it by my architect, but he said the budget was too low. I was worried the whole project would fall through, but then I decided to knuckle down and save more money. Looking ahead, I think I will be able to start next year. Did you catch them all? Draw up, run by, fall through, knuckle down, and look ahead. Using them in a cluster like this makes your speech incredibly natural and fluid. Now, I want to introduce a concept called the future perfect continuous. We touched on this briefly, but let's really understand it. We use it to emphasize the length of time an action has been happening at a future point. By the time you finish this podcast, you will have been listening for over an hour. We are emphasizing the duration. By next year, I will have been studying English for 5 years. This tense is a celebration of persistence. It shows that you didn't just achieve the goal, you put in the time. Let's practice the rhythm. We'll have been listening. It is 4 words, but in speech it flows like a river. I'll have been listening. Try to flow with it. By 2030, I will have been living in this city for a decade. It is a very poetic way to mark time. Let's talk about the word impending. Impending is an adjective used to describe an event, usually a bad one that is going to happen soon. The impending storm, the impending deadline. It creates a sense of pressure. If you have an exam coming up, you can talk about the impending exam. It sounds a bit dramatic, but it accurately describes that feeling of something hanging over your head. On a lighter note, we have the word upcoming. Upcoming is neutral or positive. The upcoming festival, the upcoming holidays. So use impending for stress and upcoming for schedules. I want to address the power of intuition in planning. Sometimes we don't have data. We just have a gut feeling. A gut feeling is an instinct. My gut feeling tells me this is a good idea. When talking about the future, you can say, I am going to trust my gut. This is a very common idiom. Even in business, people admit to trusting their gut. It means relying on your internal compass. Have you ever trusted your gut and it turned out well? You can tell that story by saying, I wasn't sure, but I followed my gut, and it was the best decision I ever made. Let's play a game of sentence transformation. I will give you a simple sentence and I want you to upgrade it using the vocabulary we have learned in this final part. Here is the simple sentence. I plan to work hard. How can we upgrade that using a phrasal verb? We can say, I am going to knuckle down. Good. Here's another. I want to see what happens later. Upgrade that to a formal phrase. We can say, I want to consider the future implications. Excellent. One more. The plan failed. Upgrade that using a phrasal verb. The plan fell through. See how these changes add color and precision to your English. You are painting with a full palette of colors now, not just black and white. Now, we are going to do something very special. I want to guide you through a visualization exercise that will lead into a writing prompt. This is the letter to your future self. This is a very popular exercise in personal development, and it is a fantastic way to practice English. I want you to imagine yourself exactly 5 years from today. Visualize where you are living. Visualize who is with you. Visualize how you feel. Now, I want you to compose a letter to that person in your mind. You would start with, Dear future me. You would use the future perfect to make predictions. I hope you will have visited Japan by now. I hope you will have found a job you love. You can also ask questions. Are you still happy? Have you kept your promises? Writing this letter does 2 things. First, it cements the grammar structures we have learned. Second, it creates an emotional connection to your language learning. When you care about the content, you learn the language faster. I encourage you to actually write this letter down after the podcast. Put it in an envelope and write the date on it. Do not open it for 5 years. It sounds like a long time, but remember, time flies. In the fullness of time, you will open it and see how far you have come. Let's discuss the phrase, in the fullness of time. This means eventually or at the appropriate time. We often use it when we are impatient. Don't worry, the truth will come out in the fullness of time. It is a very patient and wise phrase. It reminds us that we cannot rush everything. Language learning is definitely something that happens in the fullness of time. You cannot force fluency in a week. It grows like a tree. We should also cover the word prospect. A prospect is the possibility or likelihood of some future event occurring. The prospect of unemployment is frightening, but we also use it in the plural, prospects, to talk about chances of success. She has great career prospects. If you are learning English to improve your job prospects, you are making a very smart move. You can tell people, I am studying English to enhance my career prospects. Enhance is a great verb, meaning to improve the quality or value of something. Enhance your prospects. It is a strong collocation. Let's talk about the conditional phrase, provided that. This is a formal way of saying if. I will go to the party provided that I finish my work. It adds a condition that must be met. We will sign the contract provided that you agree to our terms. It is very common in legal and business contexts. A similar phrase is, as long as. I will stay as long as you need me. These phrases link the future to a condition in the present. Let's practice. I will be happy, provided that I am healthy. Say it. I will be happy, provided that I am healthy. We are nearing the end of our journey, and I want to take a moment to review the emotional arc of talking about the future. We started with uncertainty, using toying with and on the fence. We moved to determination, using set my sights on and knuckle down. We talked about fear, using dread and apprehension. And we talked about hope, using aspire and bright future. This range of emotion is what makes you human. Do not try to be a robot. Use your English to express your fears and your hopes. If you are scared of the future, say it. I am apprehensive about the changes. If you are excited, say it. I am thrilled about the possibilities. Being authentic is the most attractive quality in a speaker. I want to leave you with a final advanced grammar structure, which is the inversion. In formal English, we sometimes switch the subject and the verb for emphasis. For example, not only will I learn English, but I will also learn Spanish. Notice the order will I instead of I will. Not only will we succeed, but we will also thrive. This is a rhetorical device used by great speakers and politicians. It sounds very powerful. Let's try to construct one. Not only are we going to finish this podcast, but we are also going to master this topic. Try saying that with power. Not only will I try, but I will succeed. It feels strong, doesn't it? As we close this massive session, I want you to reflect on what you have achieved today. You have listened to thousands of words of continuous English prose. You have shadowed sentences. You have visualized your future. You have learned idioms, phrasal verbs, and academic terms. This is not just a lesson, it is an immersion experience. You have effectively lived in English for the last hour. This is how you bridge the gap between a learner and a speaker. Your future in English is very bright. I can see it. I know that if you keep showing up, if you keep pressing play, and if you keep practicing, you are bound to succeed. It is inevitable. You have the roadmap. You are getting the ball rolling every single day. Do not let setbacks stop you. If a plan falls through, just go back to the drawing board and start again. Trust your gut and keep shooting for the stars. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this incredible journey today. This was a long episode, but I hope it was worth every minute. If you found value in this massive deep dive, please make sure to subscribe to English in Advance. Share this channel with your friends who are also learning. Leave a comment down below telling me one specific goal you have for next year using the phrase, I have set my sights on. I read every single comment and I am rooting for you. I am Jessica, and this has been English in Advance. The future is yours to create. Go out there and make it amazing. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, keep talking, keep dreaming, and keep moving forward. Goodbye for now.